And so these are the private suites here in Townsville. Please walk along. You can see the secretary area. There's a Star Wars calendar I brought because there are pediatric patients seen by a pediatrician. They love the Star Wars characters. We can have a look at some more of the Star Wars characters which I brought. A lot of them. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here's the secretary area. Please come in and have a little look at it. You can see there are phones, a couple of large computers. Here are all the credit card machines. That's Dollar's credit card machine. Most prominent, NAB. Then we go on to this painting. This painting was in my room. It was a painting of the Big Ben in London. This is the patient waiting area. And guess whom we have in the patient waiting area? So prominent, showing his face to you. The man himself. That's Dollar. Hey, got Dollar. What do I like to do with Dollar? I like to do this to him all the time. Oh, Dollar. Now, the story of the cup. This is an interesting thing. Finally I got an interview by Gold Coast Hospital. A couple of people resigned in January 2015, and the job was advertised around January 2015, and I applied for it, and I was done in complete silence. I didn't tell Dollar at all that I was going to be interviewed. I didn't even tell Dollar that the interview was scheduled for March 2015, March 13th, 2015, and I quietly flew from Townsville to Brisbane, quietly took a rental car, quietly drove to my hotel room at Gold Coast. 13th of March 2015, I got quietly interviewed by two good consultants at GCOH, General Medicine. And April 2nd, 2015, I got the GCOH physician's job. I didn't tell Dollar. I told the other consultant here, I told the secretary, I didn't tell Dollar. I remember buying carrot cakes and eating carrot cakes. I was actually on the paleo diet, but I broke the rules for one day because that day was well worth breaking the rules. And I ate carrot cakes and I celebrated the beautiful moment of getting the job. And then I packed my whole house into the car and I drove my car somewhere on the 15th or 16th of April 2015 down the Bruce Highway, 1500 kilometers, one-way trip out of Townsville to Gold Coast. And then I saw something in the rear view mirror. It's Dollar! It's Dollar running on the highway. I see he's trying to wave. He's trying to say something. And I slowed down my car and I tried to listen to him. He says, "Help! Help! Don't go! Don't go! What's going to become of the money?" And what did I do? I cold-bloodedly put my foot on the accelerator and zoom! 200 kilometers an hour, all the way down the Bruce Highway, all the way destination Gold Coast. Now the story of this foam cup. You know that this foam cup is only available in Queensland Health. You don't get it in private suites. Now after that interview, I was offered a cup of coffee by one of the secretaries at GCOH in March 2015. And by accident, this foam cup, I placed it in my bag after drinking the coffee and brought it back to Townsville by mistake. And I put it on my desk the day after the interview. And Dollar could have seen the foam cup. He could have got the clue that I've escaped. But he didn't get the clue. I only told him about my escape when the room was empty, the empty room. Only when he saw the room was empty for several months after March 2015 did he get the clue that I'm gone. And the story of the foam cup is the day after the interview, he could have actually got the clue that this phone call is Queensland Health. You've been for an interview. Where have you been last night? He could have asked me that question. He didn't. So as a way of mocking him, each time I come up here, I bring the foam cup each time I come up here, just to remind him what he missed. That's why, as Sherlock Holmes said, seeing is a faculty, but observation is an art. So you need to be observant as a doctor. You need to observe, what is this cup doing here? How did it appear here? Have you been to a Queensland Health interview? That's what he failed to do. Last month I put a photo of a frog on his face. It took almost 1 month for him to actually introduce the frog. And then he removed the frog and all the patients had a good laugh. Let's move into his room. This is Dollar's room, the other room. Dollar still works here. Have a nice picture of the whole room. Often I leave a little gift. Sometimes I put a picture of the frog on his chair, so he sits on the chair and makes a noise, frog croak. Sometimes I write little messages like this, like Logan, to frighten him because he was all the time after me, thinking I'm going to run away to Logan. So I would put a Logan. I would often sometimes hammer a nail up here and put it on his door. So when he closes the door after he comes to work on Monday morning, he sees this little foam cup to greet him. So every month I fly to Townsville, I bring the foam cup just to mock him. Now that's evil. That's supposedly his coat. And you can see his coat is full of germs. I'm really even afraid to touch his coat. Didn't know he's on statins. He actually takes statins for high cholesterol. So every time I fly to Gold Coast, I usually, you know, meter maids, who the meter maids are in Gold Coast. So I often put photos of meter maids into his coat, and I often also leave the cup with all Logan messages inside his coat pocket, and I leave it in here. And then he comes to work, and he feels like he's being intruded. Let's move into the last section. Now that printer, there's a story for that as well. That printer, Dollar purchased this printer for about $1,000 from some backyard store. Now there are 5 consultants working here. 6th consultant has joined last year. Very busy suites. Do you think a small printer like that can handle the tons of faxes we get every day, referrals from GPs? No. So we wanted a bigger printer like this one. So we told him, get rid of that printer. We're going to buy this printer. It costs about $1,000, $2,000 a month to purchase it and maintain it. But no, he spat the dummy. He made a huge noise about this big printer. So in the end, we shoved it down his throat. We physically took that small printer of his. We dumped it down here. Without his permission, we bought the big printer. We put it in here. It's working perfectly well. All of us are happy. And that's the story of Dollar. Also, I've also brought some new things to mock him. I also brought some meter maid beer mats to mock him, and I put it in the suites. Because I try endocrine experiments on him. I want to check out if he's straight or not. So each time I bring things like these, I often put it in his room or put it out here. And I often sing songs like reproduction, 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 reproduction. And I see Dollar's response. And lastly, let's head back to my suites. You know, I feel very happy when I come here to Townsville once in a month. It's a nice relaxing time for me. We're coming to the end of this recording. There's a very incompetent medical suites down there called Suite 104, where you've got the worst secretaries in the world who can't do any billing, who can't do any bookings, are totally incompetent. It's owned by the hospital, by the private hospital. So I nicknamed them Area 51 because they're so incompetent. And last year I hijacked about a couple of doctors out of Area 51 to come into my suites in Suite 5. So all of them, like Wolanski, and all of them are doing very well at the moment. Dollar goes for a conference for renal medicine to London, and there he sees the pound is more stronger than the dollar, so he skips breakfast, skips lunch, and eats grass. Bookkeeper, that's another thing. All practices should have a bookkeeper to handle the finances and spend money appropriately and handle the accounts. He organizes a couple of crap bookkeepers. The one he's got right now is an absolute lunatic and also very rude. And I'm very happy about the events of 2015. 31st of January 2015, this Nazi got kicked out of power. A new premier came in, all the jobs opened. And I often very fondly remember that little trip to Gold Coast in March 2015 when I went, got interviewed and grabbed the job. It almost felt like an escape from this prison. It felt like Alcatraz.